Hello, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We've had a bit of technical difficulties, so we've managed and problem solved through and are ready to start our 3 o'clock. I hope you're enjoying the World Autism Summit. Today, we're going to explore the incredible life and work of Dr. Daryl Treffert and how his legacy continues through the Treffert approach today at the SSM Health Treffert Center and Treffert Studios. My goal today, or really our goal here at the Treffert Center and Studios, is to inspire you by sharing Dr. Treffert's strength-based model for understanding and supporting neurodiversity, autism, savant syndrome, hyperlexia. So welcome. I'm glad you've made it here. I'm glad I had the wonderful support of Micah, who you see hiding on the screen, to get me here after some troubleshooting. My name is Meg Puddy, and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the Director of Community-Based Behavioral Health for SSM Health in the Wisconsin region. Clinically, I am a board-certified behavior analyst and early start Denver model therapist. Professionally, I am a strength finder, and I now support the team carrying forward the work of Dr. Treffert. I really hope today that you feel inspired as we look at Dr. Treffert's approach that we now name the Treffert approach and his strength-based model. You'll see my contact info here. I know we do not have the chat live today because we are coming through multiple avenues to get to you, but I will also list this at the end of the presentation. Please reach out if you have questions or comments. Okay. So Dr. Treffert's work really is worth starting at the beginning. So we're going to inspire the future today by taking a moment to tell his life story and honor the past. He has touched the lives of thousands. His strength-based approach to autism, savant syndrome, and hyperlexia really revolutionized the care and the support that families have received across the world. Locally, we are in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, but Dr. Treffert's work has expanded much further than that. In today's presentation, we will journey through his life, explore key concepts of his work, and look at how this work continues today in our portfolio of Treffert services at SSM Health. Same picture because it's so cute, we had to share it twice. We'll begin on how it all started. Dr. Daryl Treffert was born on March 12th of 1933. It's important to note here, he was born at St. Agnes Hospital. Unfortunately, we have lost Dr. Treffert now. I will speak to that later. He died at St. Agnes Hospital, so he really dedicated his life to serving the community in which he was born, raised, worked, raised his own family, and then cultivated this approach that we're talking about today. He married the love of his life, Dorothy. They raised a beautiful family with many children. He is also a graduate of Mankato College in Minnesota, or Bethany Lutheran College in Mankato, Minnesota. 4 children, like I said, Joni, Jill, and Jay, and John. And so he was really a dedicated family man. And it's always great to start with the human first and then to speak of the professionalism. With Dr. Treffert, those two never really separated. The human and the professional were in one. And he was one of the most genuine people to meet. After graduating college, we're going to go through a bit of a history here. We'll embed it with some videos as well, I promise. After graduating from the University of Wisconsin Medical College in 1958, Dr. Treffert interned in Eugene, Oregon. Before completing his residency in psychiatry, he was tasked with opening and working at the Winnebago Mental Health Institute, where he developed the child and adolescent unit. 2 years later, he was named the superintendent of the institute, a position he held for 15 years. This is the location where he met his first savants. One boy had memorized the Milwaukee bus system. Pretty amazing. Could do it back at this time without Google. Dr. Treffert often said the savants that he worked without Google. A second boy could assemble a 200-piece jigsaw puzzle, picture side down, just by recognizing the geographic shapes. A third young boy could make basketball free throws with uncanny accuracy, and repetition. This is just a sampling of the individuals that really sparked interest in Dr. Treffert. He truly saw the people in front of him, and it made him really start to wonder about savant syndrome. Later in his career, while still pondering these things, he held the position. I think I just lost you guys. I'm back. I must be having technical issues here in Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody saw my screen freeze, so thanks for bearing with me. He held the position of Alcoholism Rehabilitation Unit at the St. Agnes Hospital here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. He served on medical multiple boards and committees. He also served as the president of the Wisconsin Medical Society and the Wisconsin Psychiatric Association. He was a clinical professor before he officially retired in 1991. But what you'll note here is that the timeline didn't end. Dr. Treffert often spoke of after retirement is when the real work began, when the real joy of his professional career began. We'll talk about the 80s a bit here. In June 1980, Dr. Treffert met Leslie Lemke, a musician and savant who came to Fond du Lac to give a concert at the Goodrich Little Theater. The concert was a tremendous success, and he was respected and honored by being on 60 Minutes and being featured on Walter Cronkite's extraordinary Christmas show with his wife or with his mom, May Lemke. The technology here, guys, bear with me. His work has been featured on 60 Minutes. That's incredible. Donahue, Larry King Live, Oprah. He would be blushing right now because I'm bragging for him. He really was such an amazing speaker. Shortly before his death, he was featured on a CBS Sunday morning show with Jane Pauley. His work has since been cited with Dr. Matt Dahl on NBC's Megyn Kelly, The Today Show, discussed on the History Channel's The Unexplained with William Shatner, and most recently, the work at the Treffert Center and Treffert Studios on his legacy and savant syndrome work was featured in a documentary that aired at NHK in Japan. One of the most favorite things that he liked to talk about was his time consulting on the movie Rain Man. The movie Rain Man, which made the term autistic savant a household name, this movie was the beginning of a heightened autism awareness in our country. Dr. Treffert personally worked with the screenwriter Barry Merrow to ensure accuracy in representing the talents of savants. He also worked very closely with acquired savant Jason Paget, who sought out Dr. Treffert's counsel after a brutal attack in 2002, which transformed him from an average student into a mathematical genius. Together, Jason and Dr. Treffert shared many stages to explain and demystify the exceptional islands of genius in all of us, just waiting to be untapped. The list of exceptional minds that have crossed paths with Dr. Treffert is long, and this includes, just to name a few, Alonzo Clemens, Kim Peek, Leslie Lemke, Jason Paget, Ping Lian Yik, Justice, Matteo Musa, Temple Grandin, who speaks tomorrow, I believe, Daniel Tammet, and Gregory Blackstock. So as you can see, this was just the beginning of the work that he did to really develop what we now call the Treffert approach. From 1992 to 2005, he continued to serve as a professor and on several boards. In 2000, Dr. Treffert and Dr. Matt Dahl, who still works at SSM Health in a care for the caregiver roles, started to begin collaborating and having a research project here or there, but really dreaming about a shared vision. They began to do work in hyperlexia more intensely, supporting families, doing evaluations, creating educational materials, and being in contact from people from all over the world to just be a friendly voice on the other end of the phone, of the email, of the letter, to say, I hear you, I see you, and I understand you. In 2014, then Beyond Boundaries of Autism joined Dr. Treffert and Dr. Matt's vision. Beyond Boundaries of Autism was an autism treatment provider that was based as a home-based model, working under a different company. At this point, Ignesian Healthcare was our founding hospital, and we all joined together to dream and scheme about all of the wonderful things that we could do if we could just. And Ignatian Healthcare made that happen. In 2016, the Treffert Center opened with a multidisciplinary team and center-based autism services. It was possible and made possible by the assistance of Dr. Treffert's own daughter, Joni Stein, who is a librarian. How fortunate is that? And assisted Dr. Treffert to go through his vast collections of books, articles, artwork on savant syndrome, and other things that he had cataloged. He moved this from his home, his man cave, to the campus of Ignatian Healthcare. The Treffert Center, a dream of Dr. Treffert and the team that helped create it, became a reality because of the support of Ignatian Healthcare. And today, Dr. Treffert's life's work can be accessed by the world through the Treffert Library, which is housed within the Treffert Center. The Treffert Center also is home to many different areas, but better than me sharing with you, and I'll catch my breath from my technology difficulties, I will let Dr. Treffert speak to you through video and talk about the excitement as they were opening the Treffert Center. There we go.
Dr. Treffert's been part of Ignatian Healthcare and the community since 1962, but this was an opportunity where he and Matt Dell came forward with a clinical plan that was sustainable, that we felt we could take care of individuals that were vulnerable, that had these needs, that we could offer specialized services that no one else offered, and it was really a niche program for Ignatian Healthcare.
I have always felt that at some point I'd like to have a place that focuses on savant syndrome, and if it can be here, that to me is a splendid opportunity and certainly a convenient one.
Ignatian's response to the children's crisis, mental health crisis in particular, has been amazing. We've really pulled together across the spectrum of providers. We're really organizing ourselves to identify. We're involved in community initiatives. We're really committed to trying to help resolve these issues. And so the Treffert Center represents one of these unique opportunities in bringing together service lines that really make a lot of sense. We know that actually the best predictor for health outcomes across all dimensions is early social emotional development. And so the Treffert Academy identifies these skills that all children need, regardless of their unique individual differences, whether they have needs or not. All children benefit from early social emotional education. And so the Treffert Academy is really designed to meet those needs.
Having the Treffert Center here is very meaningful to me. Being able to not only preserve what I've accumulated, but to expand that, to find other fresh new explorers who I hope will join us to carry on.
Within that unique facility, we have Dr. Treffert's work. We have the Treffert Library. The Treffert Library represents the life work of Dr. Treffert, but more importantly in that environment, it represents an opportunity for our community to engage in a discussion about individual strengths. And Dr. Treffert's life work is really focused on respecting and supporting individual differences. He has, of course, prolific writings, he has great research, but he's a kind man. And the kindness comes through in all of the work that he's done. He's open to anybody. And the Treffert Library really reflects that, as well as the Treffert Center. Across the age span, whatever individuals need, we kind of have those service lines to help them. One of the areas that children really struggle with is accessing psychiatric care and support. So we have a behavioral nurse practitioner that will be present at the Treffert Center in order to provide those services on a consulting basis with their provider. We also have therapies available, such as speech language and occupational therapy at the Treffert Center.
I talked to a 4th grade class at St. Mary's School. And as soon as I was done, the little hands went up and said, "How come there's more males than female savants?" And began to ask questions about savant syndrome that were very sophisticated. So at the end of it, the little boy and little girl came up, and the little boy said, "I want to be a neuroscientist." And the little girl said, "Me too." And I thought, for me, the real payoff is going to be when those two kids walk across the stage and get their neuroscience degree. Then I will say that's my legacy.
It's such an amazing opportunity for our community to have Dr. Treffert's legacy present in a community that he gave so much of his time and talents to. It really is something that I think all of us will be proud of.
We will be not only a state and Midwest leader, but a national and a world leader in savant syndrome and autism.
I'm just sort of humbled by having a Treffert Center and appreciative of the opportunity to have that, not because my name is on it, but because of the kind of work that I see coming from the Institute, which will benefit not only people with savant syndrome, hyperlexia, and autism, but I just sort of energized by the opportunity and so appreciative of that possibility.
I still love listening to his voice. And like I said, he can tell the story much better than I ever could. Today, the Treffert Center continues to host the library, the Treffert Academy, the Treffert Center Autism Services, formerly known as Ignition Beyond Boundaries of Autism. And soon you'll hear more if you attend sessions later this weekend about our newest offering, the Treffert Studios. After opening the Treffert Center, Dr. Treffert continued to lead his research. Today, here in front of you, we have a sampling of some of the publications that he has completed over the years. He continued speaking, writing, contributing to medical journals. His work has been published in Time, People, Newsweek, USA Today, Scientific American, Southwest Airlines, when they used to give you those great magazines, the Sky magazine, and more than 50 other publications. His books featured here on the slide, Extraordinary People, has been published in 10 languages. His book, Islands of Genius, was most recently published in Mandarin. His newest collections, Mellowing and Recollections, are also available through SSM Health. In 2017, here in Wisconsin, we had a significant change to our state autism guidelines and funding. What this did is really impact and narrow the breadth of services that were financially sustainable for providers to serve children. This was a devastating time, as at the time, our in-home and center-based autism services served a much larger age range. The new guidelines really restricted this to preschool age and more significantly under the age of 8. So Dr. Treffert, Dr. Dahl, and our team at the Treffert Center began to say that we've got to do better. We've got to do better than this. At the same time, we were starting to better define all of the things we were learning from the mentorship of Dr. Treffert, from what he's learned throughout his research and throughout his career, and really crafting what is now known as the Treffert approach. What we realized in our work at the Treffert Center, in our inclusive daycare, our autism services, our clinic services, is that the Treffert approach really spans beyond clinical. It is appropriate for educational. It spans beyond diagnoses. It's working for all of the kids who come through our door. In collaboration with local school districts in serving both autistic and neurodivergent populations, as well as neurotypical populations, we recognized that the Treffert approach was helping and supporting all children. In 2018, Treffert Way Charter School for the Exceptional Mind opened. This is a charter school transitioning Dr. Treffert's work and his approach to public education. We also that year, Ignition Healthcare joined SSM Health, as you will see by all of our branding. That is now our supporting organization that has made our continued work and carrying forward the legacy of Dr. Treffert possible. In 2019, we continued the work of really working through the opening of the school, developing the Treffert approach in ways that could be digested by multiple different means of communication, consulting with families on the Treffert approach, and started to think, How do we fix that problem from 2017? And this is when the ideas and discussions of the Treffert Studios, which if you are more interested in the brief amount I'll give you today, you can learn more in a future presentation by Brian Mischler at the summit. In 2020, during these discussions, Dr. Treffert passed away unexpectedly and suddenly. We really hope to honor the past and promote our future and inspire our future by honoring Dr. Treffert. More than the clinical nods, the 60 Minutes, the CBS, the people he's met and collaborated with, what was most important to Dr. Treffert was the communication, the collaboration that he had with those he served and their families. He was one of those individuals that regardless of who you were, when you were in a room with Dr. Treffert, you felt like you were the most important person. This is a key component of his approach and his success. Letters and emails are received at the Treffert Center daily. They were received at the Treffert Center daily or prior to that in Dr. Treffert's inbox or his mailbox or the slot at the hospital before we opened. All of these inquiries were personally responded to by Dr. Treffert until we lost him in 2020. Although we did lose our beloved Dr. Treffert, we do our best each day to carry on his legacy. He's inspired so many parents, grandparents, educators, individuals, others reaching out to better understand themselves or in search of resources and services for themselves or their children. He was always such an encourager, often noting to individuals or families that he spoke to keep doing what you're doing. If you found me, it means you're doing your research, is what I always said. And love is a good therapist too. I know that if he was here today, he would say to all of you in the audience the same. In our dream to fulfill that promise of closing the gap that existed in services across the age span for those on the spectrum and other neurodivergent populations, our team worked tirelessly to dream and scheme, how do we open the Treffert Studios? This video is just an introduction to the Treffert Studios. I hope you enjoy it. You'll feel the energy throughout it, where we discuss what was to be. Today, I am sitting in the Treffert Studios. I wish I had a better camera span. I would take you out to our atrium and let you see it all yourself, but please cue into the future presentation this weekend if you would like more. But what's most exciting here is you're going to hear what we dreamed of, which has now become a reality.
Ready, and 3, 2, 1, action.
The Treffert Studio and the availability for us to really build from the ground up a state-of-the-art facility that has technology embedded within it, that has flexibility within the space, will really open up our ability to serve our clients in a way that they need to be served.
From the moment you step through the doors, you will sense a feeling of creativity, collaboration, and community that carries through the entire building.
We'll have technology that will allow us to look at video-based therapies, video modeling, self-video modeling.
This is a typical, what we're calling treatment studio. As you notice, it's got the psychiatrist and the patient's parent and the patient all oriented around a large interactive touchscreen. So everybody is facing the exact same direction, and the individual is an active participant in his or her own healthcare. After their appointment, they can step right down the hall and create their next group podcast discussing maybe life with autism or OCD. They may want to jam with their band and create their next great audio recording, or they may want to work on a piece of art if that's their particular passion. Our vision is to give these young people as many tools as we can to help them identify their creative powers. Imagine this stockroom filled to the brim with musical instruments, video cameras, props, costumes, wigs, drawing utensils. And then this person right here is a young neurodivergent adult who we have employed as an inventory specialist.
I got interested in the cattle industry because I got exposed to it as a teenager when I went to my aunt's ranch. And if I hadn't gone to my aunt's ranch, I wouldn't be in the cattle industry. So it brings up a really important thing of exposing students to enough different things. How's a student going to get interested in doing a video or doing audio engineering or doing art if they're not exposed to it?
Like, I have kids come in and often families are like, well, how did you teach this kid to play Mozart? I didn't teach them that. All I did was provide the opportunity for them to show their unique gifts. That kind of plays into the leadership group.
I have a previous background in acting, so Brian and I started doing a bunch of film and music production with our older gentlemen who just have amazing skills and talents.
And then we got to work on like executive functioning. We got to work on social communication. We got to work on, how to behave in a vocational setting. We got to work on how do we manage anxiety when we're all working towards a goal.
This studio is a place where we can expand on that work.
Having this large central atrium space will allow us to develop new programs, such as a camp specifically for people who are neurodiverse, where they can come and complete collaborative projects, creative projects with one another, make friends in the process.
The sensory engagement throughout the entire building and outside the building. Nature tends to be one of the most compelling and relaxing sensory experiences that many of these kids talk about. So having this area where they can just be themselves, that will be a primary component to the work that they do.
We would also use that space to hold live events. We would have a ticket booth where people can come in. They can walk around the art gallery that's going to be open at all times. And then they can wander into their seat to see a really amazing production. In the back there, we would have that audio/visual editing space as well.
One person's going to be doing the lights and camera and tech stuff. Somebody else does the acting. They're complementary skills.
Now here's another person that has a unique set of skills that seem like it might, go together.
There's some things that I'm just fearful or just don't have a lot of practical experience.
So much stress and so much anxiety, which is a huge piece right now, not just for people on the spectrum in their society.
There's a lot of things that I can expand upon just if I were to go there and learn all these different things, animation, voice acting.
He has some independence, but he'll be learning more this way. Because I always tell Grant, I won't always be here, Grant. And you have to know how to do these things.
There's just a gap. I mean, we can hit them with the early intervention, but they get lost after that. And we really need to try and figure out what we can do as an organization to try and help them.
You become an adult and it's just, here's all these things you're expected and just try to do it once. Every time as I look at all my failures, it's because I couldn't find the right help or the right support.
When a person is feeling like they're safe, like they're connected, they're able to start honing in on their skills, maybe skills they didn't even realize they had.
I really, really support the concept of developing strengths, taking the thing that the student's good at and building on it. Also learning basic career skills like being on time, getting projects done. And in your Treffert studio, you're teaching a lot of skills like music editing, making music, making videos, art, audio engineer. These are all things that can make you employable.
Both in the work at Treffert Academy and our work partnering with Treffert Way, the charter school, the concept and prospect of having a space like Treffert Studios already has our teachers so excited about the possibility of field trips.
Another thing that's really good is labeling high school kids to get exposed to a technical community college where they can do welding, they can do some skilled trades.
My skill set is video, photography. I've done creative videos for Agnesia for quite a number of years now.
By having these other creative backgrounds like theater and multimedia, that's very unique.
Would go a long way for not just my opportunities, but opportunities for others.
Because I'm seeing way too much totally in the medical model, and they just see the disability, they don't see any of the ability.
You are allowing my son to not only expand upon his talents, but also allowing him to work outside the studio, do what he does best, his art, his presentations, That's important to us.
Having a space like this for me lets me grow within what I find enjoyable and interesting.
These kids felt like there was no place for them to fit in. We often talk about we found our people.
We've been looking for someone or some organization to support what we need to do, because we know we have a message to share, not just around the nation, but around the world.
All people have a story to share, and our goal at the Treffert Studio is to give everyone a platform from which to share their stories.
You know, the studio is not just at the studio, but a global hub.
We want to expand, and I need help. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing.
Guys, if you look at my Instagram account, there's good content, but you can see me just flailing all around over the place.
To invite these families into a space where they can dream about the possibilities for their children moving forward, that is, in a nutshell, so exciting.
We have the team and the vision.
It's really exciting, the things that you're doing, because I'm seeing too many smart kids ending up in the basement playing video games, just sitting at home watching TV.
Many people are like, we just want to move there.
It's time.
Yep.
We're packing our bags.
Yeah.
It's those fresh new explorers that are going to take us farther and farther into the intricacy of this marvelous organ, the brain. And when they do that, they will take us farther than we've ever been in both understanding the brain and human potential.
So thank you so much for taking the time to watch that video along with me. I'm reflecting while I'm watching that and seeing my colleagues, how far we've come. Julie and Grant in the video, Jigsaw Grant, you should check him out, an eco-artist, did in fact move from Texas to Frigid, Wisconsin. The only thing that didn't really happen in that video is we have palm trees there. That does not exist in Wisconsin. But so much has happened since that video, and it's all been made possible due to our work to carry forward the Treffert approach and Dr. Treffert's legacy. I was also reflecting how hard it is to speak just at all of you today and not have this interactive component because of the importance of relationships. So thank you for bearing with a very college lecture style presentation today. But hopefully at the end, you'll see ways to connect with our studios team, our Treffert Center team, and have authentic connection in the future if any of this information interests you or you have questions. Dr. Treffert, over the years and continuing today with those carrying forward his legacy, have been in contact or collaborated with individuals over 31 countries. And so when we say internationally and when we say we want to be a hub, it's not to just spread across the world to get our information out there. It's truly the listening and learning from all of those that reach out to us that has allowed us to take those stories, to take that knowledge, to put it all together and to share and collaborate that has led us to where we are today. Before we dive into the Treffert approach and speak a bit more specifically about what current state of the Treffert Center looks like and the Treffert approach application, let's talk a bit about hyperlexia and savant syndrome in the spirit of teaching for those or informing those that may not be familiar with these terms. Hyperlexia is a condition that children exhibit very early on in life, very advanced reading skills. You'll see a quote from Dr. Treffert here on the screen. Reading ability is a gift, one that should be understood and nurtured. And that's really what he was so great at, was always identifying what the gifts were. How do we nurture them? How do we grow them? There are 3 types of hyperlexia that Dr. Treffert was instrumental in, along with collaborating with some colleagues in identifying and defining. Hyperlexia 1 refers to children who are early readers, but without any neurodevelopmental differences. They have an exceptional ability to read well above their age level very early on without any specific teaching. And hyperlexia 1 is the rarest that we've seen of the 3 types of hyperlexia. It's not associated with autism or other developmental disabilities. Hyperlexia 2 is the type of hyperlexia, or the subtype, that Dr. Treffert spoke of seeing most commonly associated with those with children with ASD. These children exhibit extraordinary ability to read at a very young age, but their comprehension often lags behind their decoding ability. They also might have differences or face challenges in language, communication, social challenges, or others. Hyperlexia 3 describes children who are advanced reading, like all of the subtypes, but gradually they may have things that may be associated with an autism diagnosis fade away rather quickly and without specific treatment. These children may initially display characteristics similar to autism, like the delayed social skills that we sometimes see in early childhood, or language differences. But as they develop, these traits tend to diminish, and they eventually catch up socially and communicatively to the norm. Savant syndrome, on the other hand, which we heard a bit about in the earlier videos, refers to individuals with extraordinary abilities in specific areas such as music, art, memory, among others. Savant syndrome is a rare condition in which individuals will have various developmental disorders, including autism, but also have this amazing, extraordinary ability that is far above average capacity. The condition can be genetic, or it can be acquired later in childhood or even in adults. The savant skills often coexist with various neurodevelopmental conditions, including autism, as mentioned, intellectual disability or other conditions, chromosomal disorders or brain malformation or injury at birth. Other disease might occur either prenatal or after birth, or even later in childhood or adult life, in which we suddenly see these savant skills come to life. Savant skills that are present at birth, congenital savants, are often associated with having a developmental disability. About half of the people considered in themselves congenital savants also have autism. I am not a congenital savant on pronunciation today. Acquired savants are abilities that develop after birth, often from a brain injury, stroke, dementia, or other central nervous system disorder. In these cases, it is often the right hemisphere of the brain that compensates for the injured left hemisphere of the brain. On the screen here, we see many of the savant syndrome advocates, many of the stories that are out in the news or in our public press. All of these individuals touched Dr. Treffert very personally. He learned very much from all of them, and it contributed to their work due to their collaboration. One individual we will spotlight today, and again, this is not our work, but at Great Big Stories production, and I will play this video for you, is Stephen Wilshire, which we are fortunate enough to feature some of his work that he has gifted to Dr. Treffert at the Treffert Center.
I'm Stephen Wilshire. I do drawings.
Stephen is an artist who creates incredibly intricate drawings of cityscapes.
I love drawing tall buildings, tall skyscrapers, skylines, street scenes.
And he does this entirely from memory. When Stephen was 3, he was diagnosed as autistic. He was completely mute and lived entirely in his own world. Early on, Stephen's teachers noticed he loved to draw. He had found his way to connect with others. Stephen has the ability to look at a subject once and then draw an accurate and detailed picture of it, including panoramas of entire cities based off just a quick look.
I go up on a helicopter and then memorize it, and then after being on a helicopter and then straight back at the hotel and then started to draw.
His incredible talent launched an artistic career that has taken him around the world.
Los Angeles, Dubai, Houston, Texas, and Tokyo in Japan.
And that's just to name a few.
New York's my favorite, Empire State Building, Chrysler building, and there are lots of yellow New York taxi cabs.
And Stephen has no plans of stopping anytime soon.
Someone told me that people like me drawings. I feel good. Always be happy about it.
Wrong direction. We'll fix that. Stephen's just one example, amazing example of what is possible with the human brain. Dr. Treffert would often speak about how much we know about so many different parts of our body, but how little medicine, healthcare knows about the brain. And the legacy of Dr. Treffert is living on in our services today as we continue to answer this question. More so than that, though, more than his research, he was known for his compassionate care. He took time, as I mentioned, to personally respond to every letter, phone call, email. He really believed, truly believed in seeing the individual in front of him and focusing on that individual's strengths, not just their diagnoses. He emphasized recognizing abilities and talents in each person, creating a model that viewed neurodiversity as a set of strengths to be cultivated and to be nurtured. What one man could accomplish in his lifetime, we often joke he had more time in a day than most of us. He must have. It now takes our team of over 140 dedicated individuals to carry forward that torch and that legacy. We do that at the Treffert Center, which we gave you a preview to earlier. It's our multidisciplinary center, treatment, research, our library, and inclusive daycare, outreach. It's the Treffert approach in action. Here we also conduct hyperlexia consultations and evaluations. So the Treffert approach, we keep referring to it. What does that mean? How do we package such an amazing man who saw the strengths within so many people, which led to a way of educating, of caring for, of supporting individuals across the globe? We did our very best to learn from his research, to learn from his stories, and more so to learn from the conversations that we had with him, to, in conjunction with him, break this down into 6 main components. Accurate assessment is the first. That means calling things for what they are, calling things by the right name. Dr. Treffert would often say the first step in treatment is to correctly diagnose. The second step in treatment is to ask the individual in front of you, what's the diagnosis? Because they'll know. He truly saw, he truly listened to the individuals and truly fought to make sure that we flipped that medical model on its head, stopped preconceived notions, and really investigated what could be possible. How do we differentially diagnose? How do we explore more and understand the brain? Next, and the core component that we've spoken about multiple times today already, is strength-based. So glad that we are seeing this word be utilized more often in the field of autism, in the field of neurodiversity, in the field of education, of life and relationships. Focusing on strengths, seeing the individuals in front of you, and really, really helping to help cultivate and grow is so important in the work that we all do, in supporting each other and supporting ourselves and supporting those that we serve, if we're caretakers or educators or therapists. One of the very first things that Dr. Treffert would speak of very early on in his career was his time at Winnebago, and where he helped to develop the psychiatric unit for pediatrics. He speaks of a time where he was walking up to a building and he could hear banging as he approached the building from outside the walls. Inside, he found a young girl who was banging her head repetitively over and over again on the desk. And at this moment, he looked at her and he said, "We have to do better. There's an island of potential in her brain, and it's his job, it's our job to find it, to nurture it, to support it, to see it, to love it, to grow it." And this is really what he took forward in the work that he did. Nature and the natural environment. Nature is so instrumental into our well-being, our mental health, our physical health, and the natural environment, learning where we're meant to learn. is so integral into what we do at the Treffert Center, the Treffert Studios. We are not teaching to teach tasks. We are not teaching to pass an exam. We are teaching life skills. We are teaching relevant skills. We are teaching passions. We are teaching to strengths. We are getting outside. We are moving. We are ensuring that we are benefiting from the nature that surrounds all of us. Nurturing relationships. This was and will always be what I think of most when I think of Dr. Treffert. And I think of our work being so modeled after how he approached the world. Relationships are everything. Nurturing relationships with others, whether it be your partners, whether it be your children, whether it be those that you collaborate with on a team or the educational or medical team of your children. We need to ensure that we are having authentic relationships with those around us where we can truly rely on one another. We need to see each other. We need to see the strengths in each other. And we need to recognize the different perspectives that we all bring to the table. And that doing so makes a better world. Sensory awareness. I think this group should know this, attending this conference, but we all interpret the world differently. Our senses take in information differently. As a behavior analyst coming in and joining the Treffert team early on, behavior analysts sometimes love you in the group that may watch this. Sensory was a swear word back in the day for our clinical practice, right? It should not be, and we need to know how we can embrace that and look at environments to be inclusive, look at our educational practices and our support practices to be very much aware of how sensory is at play. And most importantly, and thanks to things like the World Autism Summit, it's systems, and systems change and increasing the capacity for success by impacting the systems that surround us. It's about changes happening not just at the Treffert Center, but throughout SSM health offices and buildings in the 4 states that we serve. It's about moving the Treffert approach from a clinical setting to an educational setting to an inclusive setting. How do we continue to have conversations that are going to impact change at a larger level and support those in our community, regardless of ability, regardless of diagnosis, regardless of what subsets of strengths they're presenting to us? That when we work together, when we understand, when we have shared goals, the world is a better place for all of us. Where do we have the Treffert approach in place? Where do we have all of these resources? One of them mentioned earlier is the Treffert Library. At the Treffert Library, we house all of the materials that were from Dr. Treffert's home office, and they are accessible to some degree online as well. We welcome in the public. We did a lot more before COVID, and we're getting back to it after, of having community presentations and openings for people to come and peruse. We've got the artwork that's been donated to Dr. Treffert by those that he's become friends with, that he's learned from, that he's collaborated with, and often would have the opportunity to support as well. We also have the Treffert Clinic that has this Treffert approach with inside of it: speech therapy, occupational therapy, psychotherapy, hyperlexia evaluations, consultations. All of these things are within the Treffert Center to hope to have a collaborative environment across our team members, but more importantly, ease and a one-stop shop for our families that come out, that we can rely on the expertise of those around us, the strengths of those around us to best serve our communities. Treffert Autism Services, ABA services, applied behavior analysis, and focused on early start Denver model with that infused Treffert approach. So you will see this occur in the Treffert Autism Services world in center-based classrooms at one of our 3 center-based locations, in our Treffert Academy classrooms within our Treffert Center daycare. You'll see it at our charter schools, partnering in our community sites, but really relationship, play-based, real-world, natural environment support for our individuals that focuses on building their strengths, building an authentic relationship, and looking at what are their passions and interests. The Treffert Academy, and it's one of my favorite places to be, is the Treffert Center. Who doesn't love getting to go get re-energized by what Dr. Treffert would call our fresh new explorers? This is our all-day inclusive preschool that's focused on building those strengths and building social emotional skills, compassion for self, and one another and self-regulation skills in all of our children. We really, really play, we move, and we have a lot of fun at the Treffert Center. Although my voice right now may not be sounding very fun because we're not engaging with each other, but we will in the future. So please reach out. As we spoke about earlier, that age gap was really starting to be felt by those that we would have served in the Treffert Academy, at the Treffert Center, in our autism services, in our outpatient services, that as children grew up and grew out of these services, we needed to do more. We needed to look at how do we shift, how do we make systems change in education. Luckily, we had some great partners locally here who we partnered with the public school district, the school district of North Fond du Lac, and received a grant to open the Treffert Way Charter School, which is focused on the educational Treffert approach. It's inclusive charter school for all students. It's a public school, and it's located just a few miles from the Treffert Center, so that's really nice. Open to where we will teach to the talent, as we like to say. We want to provide endless opportunities for our students to explore their passions, do that deep dive, and really create and cultivate their very own Treffert approach plan that is focused on their interests, building their strengths, ingraining or embedding their work into the community, teaching outside of the classroom. How do we have projects and hands-on work and mentorship? We also are fortunate enough to expand this by an additional grant and continued partnership with the school district, opening Exploration High School just 2 years ago. We're in our second year. This is mastery-based learning, a grown-up version of the Treffert Way and Treffert approach, where we look at that full portrait of the student, community engagement, and career planning. Again, inclusive, open to all environments. And finally, Treffert Studios. You watched that long vision of our dream. I hope you'll join Brian. It's an engaging presentation created by Brian and our Treffert Studios team, Nathan here, that shows all of the work and how this Treffert approach, how we have grown it, and how we are applying it in a multimedia-based way. This innovative facility houses so many creative tools. I wish I had more of a creative brain. I learned something new every single day from the folks that walk through our doors. And innovative technology, video editing equipment, musical instruments, voiceover, podcasting, art studio. We've got it here. Our mission is really to help neurodivergent individuals find that passion and express their talents and find a meaningful life, whatever that means for them. For some, that's vocational. They want to go out. We've got a NeuroWorks program. For others, it's about exploring relationships in a different way. What are the passions of the people that we serve? How do we get to know them and see them and support them? I'm going to skip this one due to time, and I'm going to play one more video for you today. You guys, we won't have a Q&A. I don't want to go too much over, but we'll end where we began with honoring Dr. Treffert and his work. I really thank you for joining with me. I thank you for staying this long if you have. I can't see who's even in the room today. It's like I'm talking to my mirror, and I hope you're there or watching this later recorded. And I hope that we can connect in the future in an authentic way and talk about the possibilities and how we can continue to partner and move our world forward. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day. We will play this, and then we will end the presentation.
Dr. Treffert, thank you so much for everything that you've done for kids like me. You gave me a voice to tell others. Autism does not define me. I define my autism.
The good that he has done by connecting to me and to other people and helping us to understand what's happening and us to send that web out is this ripple effect, this wave that he's created of good things.
He sensed that people needed more of a platform to share their beautiful work with the world, and also to kind of gain some career or independence, basically, using their gifts.
He's extremely patient for a person with all his degrees and A lot of doctors, like Hollywood people, they like you to know how important they are. He never gave you the sense that he was anything other than a guy you'd meet in a coffee shop with some ideas. And also, most people who are experts don't listen very well, and in our phone conversations, he never interrupted. And that's why I would call him so often, because he's the only person in my life who doesn't interrupt me.
I miss my friend, miss him every day. He's a great soul, continues to be a great soul. And I do think his love and care for others, the legacy that he leaves, the Treffert Center is not just a brick and mortar place in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. It's also a virtual presence across the globe. It's all of the people that lives have been touched. And so I really see his living legacy as the love that he brought to relationships, and certainly in our friendship was present as well.
We need to be keeping Dr. Treffert alive by continuing his work. My first contact was his book, Extraordinary People. And I really liked that book because it emphasizes what somebody can do. You may have somebody that's very limited in certain areas, but they have a great talent in music or art.
One of the things I remember is how helpful he was in getting Alonzo set up with different media events, because he was the person who was kind of the contact for any shows that wanted to feature people who were savants. And so he was the central point. He was the one that really helped Alonzo become commercial with his art. And Alonzo wants to be commercial with his art. He wants to feel like he's selling his sculpture and he's making some income from it. And it was really Dr. Treffert's influence that made those wonderful things happen for him and made those dreams come true for him.
I mean, I always will regard Dr. Treffert as my mentor. I have learned so much from him, and I will keep learning from him. When I visit a school and someone says to me, this kid is misbehaving, he's misbehaving all the time, there's no reason for it, And I've learned that there's a reason. The minute you ask, what does he like to do? Oh, he likes this, but we don't allow it. That's where my whole Treffert mentality sets in, Whatever that is that student likes to do, that's all you're gonna work with. Start with that.
Everybody talks about how magical he was, but there is something about how that guy managed time that I cannot imagine how he had it. There's something magical there. I think he had more time than everybody else, and to have the quality of time and to spend that time. People often say when you're with somebody special like that, it would seem that you're the only person that matters to that person. And he felt, and everybody that I interviewed was like, I swear that he was just there for me, because there was never a moment that wasn't 100% dedicated to the people that were in front of him.
He was atypical in his humanness, his kindness, compassion, and the time he took, to listen and to, think, well, this person, shares similar thoughts or passions to me. And I think probably, I remember when I left, it was either the first trip to the Treffert Centre or the second, Dale dropped me off back at the motel before I was leaving the airport, and he just said, Treffert, he said, we sing from the same hymn sheet. And I think that was the last words, he ever said, but it just was, so, I guess, reinforcing to me, and such an honour, that he actually kind of verbalised in that very simple way that, We were like-minded and, shared the same passion and interest in this topic. So
I learned more from him on a personal level of how he spoke so highly of his family, and how, the one thing I always remember is that he said he would always make it home to dinner. No matter what was going on that day, he had to make it home to dinner to his wife and his kids. And, when you guys all grew up and moved out, always making it home to his wife at the end of the day, and making time for the most important things in life. And
all right, everybody. I promised to stay on time, so we are going to wrap it there. On the next slide, we do have our contact information. Thank you for bearing with me and giving us grace with our technical difficulties today. I hope that you all have an amazing time at the summit, learn a ton, and make some great connections. I included Brian's information because you will also have the opportunity to see his presentation later in the summit if you choose. Please reach out to either of us with any stories of strengths and hope, wish to collaborate, or questions that you may have for our team. We wish you well.